Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today we are back with Garage Review. It's been a while since I've done a Garage Review episode because if you remember, the last two Garage Review episodes were actually Top Drives and Chill, where we had the owner of the garage and we were watching a live stream. It was nice and beautiful. But now we are back to Garage Review, and today's Garage, we are going to be reviewing a very German garage. As you can see, it's German everywhere here, with Autos im Lager, Offin Platz, and Alle Auto, or is it Alle Auto? It's always like Alle Gut, I don't even know, and Mein Autos. So yeah, let's begin with that. I think it's pretty interesting that garage remains in English, and filter as well as RQ. Okay, RQ stays in RQ, but filter also remains in English. But anyway, we are going to be reviewing a garage that belongs to one of my Patreons, Enqui. So let's check out his garage, and obviously we start off with the normal commons, right? One interesting thing to see here is that usually we start off with, 3 of each type 2s, but Enqui only has 2 of each type 2s. I don't know if you sold... I don't know, having 2 of each one is a bit odd. I feel like at least you would get 3 on one, or maybe 1 on the other. I'm not sure. Let me know if you got, if you had at one point 3 of each type 2, or you decided to sell one. But yes, I do have a lot of notes, because this garage is very interesting. I actually already passed the first interesting thing. This garage is a very unique common collection. In fact, it's quite cursed, if you ask me. Starting us off, we have 3 maxed out Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams. Now that's all nice and good, right? Max out your Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams. They're amazing cars, and then you realize that one of them is 996. Yes, indeed, we have what seems to be a drag spec Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. I don't know if you know this, Enqui, but this car has an MRA of like 30. So it's not really gonna get you anywhere. So the only time the 996 Pontiac Firebird is going to win is against another non-996 Pontiac Firebird on a drag, and nobody puts this car on the drag. Pretty interesting to see though, right? It's 8682 to the 969 8984. So there's a 0.3 difference in the 0 to 60, but there's no difference in the top speed at all. Both of them standing in 108, which is just weird. You would expect the 996 to at least hit 110, or 111 even, but no, it remains at 108. So moving on, we do have a lot of very interesting comments in this garage. The Trans Am was only the tip of the iceberg, as I would say. Obviously, I have all my notes here. 2 of each type 2 of the. I gotta talk about the RQ10 Fiat 500 that we saw at the start of the video. That car is actually really good. It's a slalom specialist for the rain. So if you don't have that, I would recommend getting a Fiat 500, the RQ10. It's the lowest of the low RQ. What could go wrong? It's just a good RQ saver, but only for rainy slaloms. So moving on now, I think we want to look for the Lotus 7. There it is. The Lotus 783. Nope, that's not the one. Wait, one is each. One is something. I think 14. Yes, there's a 7.7 second difference. Okay, so the 969 is this one over here, 83, 13.30 to 60, 77 handling. And then over here, we have a 699 Lotus 7 with 81 top speed, 14 seconds 0 to 60, and 78 handling. Now, I think this is pretty insane because that is a maxed out Lotus 7. Both of them are maxed out Lotus 7. One is 969, the other is 699. But the 699 version has a 0.7 second difference to the 969, which is insane because usually when you want to, change 699, 969, blah, 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 the changes to 60, especially when it goes to Ultra and Epic, usually there isn't really changes. It's just down to the decimals or maybe 0.1, maybe from a 4.5 to a 4.4 or something like that. But this is a 0.7 second change. That's almost a second. That's more than half a second. I think it's insane. Once again, both of them are maxed out. One is 13.3. The other is 14. I don't know. That is just something I've never seen before. I guess, you know, in return for that plus +0.7 seconds, you get +1 in handling. I guarantee you that's not going to win much. The next thing that we want to see here that is also very cursed is we have 3 different variations of Honda Beats. You have the 699, the 969, and the 996. And God, why would you ever do that? As you can see, we've got the 969, the classic, which is 90, 10.0, 85. Then we have the 699 at 88, 10.4, 85, and then we have the 996, which is 90, 9.7, 83. Once again, it's a 0.7 difference between the 699 and the 996. Only a 0.4 difference with the 969 and the 699. But God, why, Enqui? Why would you do this to your comments? Here's a, you know, it's a top tip. A lot of people know this by now, but don't 699 your cars if they're not ultra or under. If they're super rare, if they're uncommon, if they're rare, if they're common, don't 699 your cars. And honestly, why would you 996 a beat? Where does it tell you this is a drag spec beat? 9.7, 83, 90 top speed. I don't know what drag is gonna win you, buddy, but that is an interesting one for sure. And then the last thing we need to talk about after your Honda Beat collection, which is kind of reminiscent of my Roof BTR collection, but at least the Roof BTRs are all decent in something. I don't know what I can say about the Honda Beats. We have 4 maxed out Fiat Panda 4x4, so I might guess that you might like the Fiat Panda 4x4. It's a decent car. It is definitely a decent car. And they're also upgraded a different way. There was like a 969 and a 699, but at least there was no drag spec. Not at least, I didn't see any drag spec. They all had a top speed of 90, so we'll see. Anyway, moving on to the uncommons, we have some pretty cursed ones as well. Starting us off, I think, is the most painful thing I have seen to date in top drives, besides, I don't know, the sight of a Clio V6, is that Chrysler 300H. That is a 969 Chrysler 300H. Now, one thing about this car, right, this red Chrysler right here that my mouse is going around, it's a very, very niche car. It's a car that you might want to get. It's a good car for clubs, but it's only good for clubs for one thing. I guess maybe in the rain it's okay because it has standard tires, but this is a quarter-mile car. It's a quarter-mile car for very, very, very low RQ, because if the RQ has to be super, super low, like the RQ has to be really, really low, and there has to be a quarter mile, and you need this car at 996 because it'll hit 4.90 to 60, and for RQ21 that is really, really good. But then again, this car has an MRA of like 30, and the fact that you didn't even 996 this, bro. This is what, 969? Oh God, I hope it's not 699. That would be even worse. But yeah, 5.1, 56, and 111 top speed. I don't know what to say. And then above it, which is less cursed but still cursed, is the 699 AutoZam AZ1. I don't think the 699 AutoZam will win anything for that extra 1 in handling. For the most part, it's gonna be 969, especially since this is a rain spec car of the standard tires, and 969 always takes it in the rain, even in the ultra rare and epic ranks. Epic ranks is when it gets a bit confusing, because like there's some cars like the Jaguar I-Pace, which is better 233. That's a whole different topic to think about. But yes, moving on along with the uncommons, do we have any more cursed ones? We don't. Luckily we don't, at least from what I know. We have a lot of Volkswagens in here. This is a very Volkswagen heavy garage, which is pretty interesting because I know that the owner of this garage, Enqui, is a huge fan of Audis, but I tend to see a lot more Volkswagens. As you can see, there's literally, it feels like almost every uncommon Volkswagen in this collection, so you would know that he definitely loves his Volkswagens. There's 2 more Volkswagens there, 2 ups, but you know, with that said, you also have a lot of key uncommons, which is nice to see. You got the trifecta of the Twizzys, you got the GTX, the Defender 110s, the Units Roadsters, the Europa Cups. You know, they're all very good cars, so it's very nice to see. Now we move along to the rares, and hopefully we'll see less cursed cars. We will start off with the Opel Manta 400, which I think we are going to see here, right here. If I were you, I would max out the Opel Manta 400. It's a really good car, 5989. If you 969 it, please 969 it. Please do not 699 or 996 it. This car has no MRA. It's just a good twisty car. It's also low, although it looks medium in the picture. But yes, you have a lot of good championships rides. A lot of cars that I can see that will win you in championships. I'm sure you're already done with Rhineland in Germany. That should be easy considering you have all these low-end Volkswagens as well well as the BMWs, so you should be fine. You know, some really good club cars here, along with the Opel GT Concept, the Z4, and then this car is actually pretty decent as well, I think. And then we have, you know, the MX-5 that's great for Japan, like the Kalios that's good for France. Yeah, the i3S, amazing for Germany, and the Dodge Stealth. So, some really good cars. You also have the 911S 2.4 Targa, which is a decent not city streets, a decent, fast circuit car. I think this is 969. You know, this has to be 969 because I have one too, and I actually 996 it just for championships, and it's 5.379. It's nice to see that you 996 your event time as well. I think this is the event time. This car is pretty decent for the quarter mile. Actually, for the half mile, it's okay as well. Standard tires 4.80 to 60. We're talking like that's the Maserati Ghibli SS 0 to 60 on a minivan. One car I would also really recommend you to max out would be the Fiat 124 Sport Spider. This thing is going to get you through Italy like a breeze. It's a great car. Great little car that car is. And yeah, just some really decent stuff. Also max out your Renault Laguna Coupe, which will help you in clubs as well as championships. But that said, a lot of staple cars like the Skyline, not the Skyline anymore. The Skyline, I used to like the Skyline. I used to commend the Skyline all the time. But now the car that you want, the best City Streets rare car that you want, is not even the GMC Denali XT. No, it's actually the Vauxhall Chevette. So if you do have the Vauxhall Chevette, do max that out. Max out double of those. That is indeed the best rare City Streets medium to my knowledge. I've tested it against the Skyline and it beats the Skyline. I've tested it against the GMC, it beats the GMC. It beats this Volvo as well. It also beats the Ford Focus, I think. So yeah, the Chevette is a really good one. But it's nice to see you have a couple of Elises as well. Obviously, you're sorting this by RQ, so not all the cars will be jumbled up together. So one Elise will be here and the other Elise will be over there. But yeah. Anyway, moving on, we are greeted by our first Audi, the Quattro. I should be seeing a lot of Audis in this garage, Enqui, because I know that you do love your Audis. You also love your Volkswagens very much, or just your German cars in general. Now, one note he told me to let you guys know when I asked him if it was something he wanted to speculate or specify on, and that is he says that he has a lot of stock super rares. And that's fair. I do have a lot of stock super rares too because they're all going to be food. But for him, it's a different case. He has all these stock super rares and they're all locked because he actually wants to max them all out. But he's just too lazy to get the rare fuse. Or maybe not too lazy. Maybe that's a bit too mean to say. But maybe it's a bit hard to get rare fuse material in bulk unless you open ceramic packs in bulk. But then again, you're basically entitled to maybe one or two, on average, one rare per pack. Because sometimes you get 0, sometimes you get 2. It really just depends on your luck. But yes, moving on now to ultra rares. No, in terms of notes that I have for super rare, because we did go by that really quickly, I would just say max out your K5 Blazer as well as your Lamborghini Miura Roadster, because both cars are amazing for clubs. In fact, the Miura Roadster is actually really good for everything because it's the best quarter mile, might even be the best half mile, maybe dragster. Sorry, it's not the best quarter mile dragster because no, it is. It beats the El Camino 3.9, 4.0. But yeah, it's just a great car. It beats the Corvette ZR2. It beats the Plymouth Superbird. So the Miura Roadster is a car that you definitely want to get 996, and for that K5 Blazer 969. Now, one thing I was quite disappointed to see, or quite disappointed to not see in your garage, Enqui, is the lack of the RQ48 Audi Quattro Twin TV. I know you love Audis, so I mean, why don't you specialize in them, right? But yeah, no Audis over there. We did see a bunch of Volkswagens though, and then obviously max duplicates of the Elise Sprint, and once again the Miura P400. Sorry, I meant to say that you should max out your Miura Roadster for the testable. You already have a maxed out Miura P400, but max a second one if you play clubs, because you know the P400 as well as the Sprint, great cars for clubs. Anyway, moving on to ultra rares. This is the cleanest ultra rare garage you're ever gonna see. I don't think there's any garage that's cleaner than this ultra rare wise, because once again, if you take away this Ford Mustang and the Mustang 2.3, by the way, this Mustang 2.3 is fused. Everything else here is maxed out. I was actually looking at my notes and I was like, I'm gonna write down, you know, cars for you to max, 3 TCRs by the way, and I was writing down, you know, cars for you not to max but to fuse, ultra rares for you to fuse, and I was just like, wait a minute, everything here is max, and it's true, everything here is max. We go from the BTR, the XE, the Colorado, some really nice cars, so it's very nice to see, you know, it's very organized. I love it that way, very, very beautiful. Some tips, obviously, is to look out for some key cars, just like the Tamora and the Evo 4, but once again, you know, you're gonna need, it's gonna be a bullseye at that point to try and get a Tamora or an Evo 4. One day you'll just get it, one day you'll be lucky, but for now, just keep a lookout for them. If you get a Tamora, if you get an Evo 4, keep it around. Those are great cars to have. Anyway, moving on to your epics now, there are a couple epic fuse cars I would get rid of. The BMW X4, the Nissan Patrol Nismo, which is, to be honest, a pretty decent all-rounder SUV, but only if you have it maxed, and a lot of people has this car maxed, but that was because it used to be Ultra, and you know, that is why. I don't think I would max it out now as an epic. Some other epics for you to fuse would be the R34, the XKRS convertible, because you have a duplicate R34 here, as well as the Subaru Impreza WRX STI. So basically all the Japanese, low-end Japanese cars, along with the X4 and the XKRS convertible. But yeah, some pretty interesting things here. I can see a lot of potential max outs for you. Obviously, you don't have any ultra rare fuse material right now, but when you do, some really decent cars for you to max out. The first one being the Charger SRT Hellcat, because it's one of the best epics on the drag. If you 996 it, it hits 2.8 0 to 60, I believe, or 2.9. I actually can't remember. I think it's 2.8. It's a very, very, very strong car. And then also the Roof Arc Compressor 699. Amazing MRA on that bad boy, and it hits about 95 handling as well. But the car that you should focus on the most right now, I would say, is the Lamborghini Gallardo LP550-2 second generation, because this car is going to be very, very useful for the Bugatti Veyron, I think Super Sport or Grand Sport, I don't know, the Bugatti Veyron prize car that's this weekend, or this coming weekend. This is going to be a very useful car in the event. So if you can get it 699, I would definitely recommend to do so if you get the fuse material in time. Anyway, moving on to legendaries now. Pretty interesting thing you'll see here. He actually has 2 maxed out legendaries for a garage of 7,000 trophies. That's pretty much insanity, because when you think about it, for me, I hit 2 maxed out legendaries in my garage when I was at like 42k trophies or something like that. It was a fat minute for sure. So yes, 2 maxed out legendaries. The first one being the Roof RT12S 2.497, and finally the BMW M5 2.597. Now, I would assume that both of these are 699. I'm not particularly sure because I don't have these cars maxed out. But yes, I would say congrats on the M5 Delimited. It's an amazing car. I would love one. It's a beautiful picture. Beautiful stats as well. 4-wheel drive, medium, 2.5, 97 handling. That is a great, great car. Definitely worthy of RQ96. So with that said, let's get into the Blossom score. Enqui, let's see what points we got for you today. In terms of uniqueness, it's a very unique garage, especially in the comment section. I've never seen a 996 Trans Am before, and yeah, congratulations, you have one. The only 996 Trans Am in existence. Definitely a very unique common garage. A lot of Volkswagens, a lot of Audis. Once again, 2 maxed out legendaries for 7k trophies. I would say this is a very, very unique garage. It gets a 10 out of 10. Moving on to patriotism. Yeah, I can see it for sure. A lot of Volkswagens, some Audis, right? You had one max. I think 1 or 2. No, 2 or 3 maxed out Audis, because you had the red one, which I think is the S4 maybe, and then you had the TTRS maxed out as well. So you love your Audis, I know that for sure, but really what you really love is the Volkswagens, because you have a lot of maxed out Volkswagens in there as well as that Polo, which I would never max out. Is it a Polo or is it a Golf? The Epic. But with that said, you know what? It's a very German garage. Much respect. 10 out of 10. Moving on to character. Once again, a garage of a lot of character, right? It's strange. It has a strange character, but it's still really good, right? Once again, a lot of patriotism, because I can obviously tell what is your favorite brands, or what are your favorite brands. And also, you know, once again, I always got to think about the comments, man. 996 Beat, 969 Chrysler 300H, it's 996 Trans Am, it's like everything's just topsy-turvy, but it's also kind of funny. But with that said, I have to give you a perfect score here, so congratulations, Enqui, you get a 30 out of 30 on the Blossom score. You really need to have a strange garage to really hit those heights, for sure. Moving on to the top drive scale, it's not the biggest garage I've seen, not the smallest garage I've seen either. Decent, and I'll give it a 7. Moving on to strength, though, you know, the ultra rares are actually very strong. You have a couple of super rares maxed here and there, you know, a lot of max rares, commons, uncommons, epics, you know, you do have a handful of maxed epics and 2 maxed legendaries, so I have to say, it's a pretty strong garage, but compared to what we've seen in the past, it doesn't stand a chance against some of the pay-to-win garages that we've seen so far. So with that said, you know, taking everything into account, I'll have to give you a 7 again. Moving on to versatility, once again, you know, a lot of max Volkswagen, so that kind of covers the front wheel drive. It also covers the standard, it covers some of the performance. You know, Volkswagen, if you specialize in Volkswagen, it's a pretty versatile brand, right? As much as I don't like Volkswagen, it's a pretty versatile brand, because they have off-road tires, not off-road tires, sorry, they have all-surface tires for off-road. They have standards, they have performance, four-wheel drive. They don't really have rear-wheel drive cars, I think, but they have four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. So, you know, there is definitely some versatility in there, but it's not like massive in any way or sense. So I'm going to give it an 8. Moving on to lethal level, once again, you are missing out on some key cards when it comes to lethal level. Is really just looking for key cards, how many of them you have maxed out. You know, you're missing out on a couple, you know, key epics, being, let's say, the Pagani C12 or the Aston Martin CC100 or the SLS Roadster, and then once again the Ultras, missing on the Tamora. But then you also have some key cars like the, you know, LP550 Gallardo, the Charger Hellcat, if you can get that max. You also have the ZR2 Colorado. So, you know, once again, you know, some highs, some lows. So in the end, I'm gonna give you an average of 7. And then finally, when it comes to potential, definitely a garage with a lot of potential, especially Germany. Your Germany high-end, low-end, middle-end is already really great. And it's nice to see, actually. You will be very strong in your German collection if you keep going the direction you're headed. Kind of reminds me of my garage, but I kind of went the American route, right? So with that said, potential, definitely very good, and I'll give you a 10 out of 10, which brings us to a total score of 7 times 3 is 21, plus 10 is 31, plus 8 is 39. Wow, Blossom's doing math. I guarantee you that that's going to be the wrong number, which gives you a final score of, nice, 69. I almost put 89 over there, but there you go, 69, and that is the score, Enqui. Once again, thank you so much for submitting your garage. And once again, if you are interested to submit your own garage, I'll have the link in the description below. But I have to say, after I started on the Patreon, the wait is longer than ever before, because I will have to get through all the Patrons first, and I got about 20 of them. I've already done 3, so 17 more to go. So if that, oh, actually, I did Top Drive's pack opening a long time ago, I think. Where is it? Yeah, here we go, number 26. So technically 16, unless he wants to do it again. But yeah, with that said, hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.